Corey always suspected the universe had a strange sense of humor, but he didn't expect it to reveal itself on a Tuesday evening while he was arguing with a vending machine. The machine won, as usual, swallowing his coins and blinking error with smug authority. Muttering something about cosmic injustice, he stepped out of the building and into the narrow street where the air smelled of warm pavement and distant rain. He took 3 steps before the world flickered, just a little, like a light bulb that needed tightening. Then it flickered again, harder this time, and Corey froze, wondering if he had finally developed stress-induced hallucinations. He stared at the flickering air until it stretched, folded, and peeled open like a glitch in reality, revealing a smooth oval of shimmering light. His first instinct was to step back. His second was to deny everything. His third was to laugh nervously and say, "Okay, new personal rule, less caffeine." The shimmering oval pulsed and someone stepped through, not something, someone. She emerged with fluid grace, her boots hitting the ground without a sound. She looked human enough. 5 fingers, 2 eyes, expression of mild annoyance. But her ears were long and elegant, curving slightly backward as if sculpted for some ancient elven royalty. They twitched when she saw him, and Corey decided he must be dreaming, because nothing with twitching ears and perfect posture ever approached him in real life. She looked him over as if cataloging every molecule he possessed. "You're late," she said. Corey blinked. For what?" Her eyes softened, though the softness didn't make the situation any less terrifying. "I've been waiting for you for 100 years. Corey opened his mouth, closed it, then opened it again. The universe had clearly mistaken him for someone important. "I think you have the wrong human," he said. "I'm not even on time to my dentist appointments." She tilted her head, ears flicking in a way that suggested impatience. "No, it's you. You arrived precisely at the predicted moment, minus a few seconds, but time here flows differently, so I'll overlook it." "Well, I appreciate your generosity," Corey said, because sarcasm was the only defense he had left. "Who exactly are you?" Instead of answering, she lifted her hand. A ripple of distortion expanded behind her, revealing a spacecraft, or at least something shaped like one, hovering half a meter above the ground. It wasn't metallic the way ships were in movies. It looked grown, not built, with smooth, curved surfaces that pulsed faintly like it had a heartbeat. Corey stared because blinking felt like a waste of time. "I am Lysera," she said finally, "and we need to talk." Corey nodded slowly. "Right, of course, talking, with the woman who stepped out of a cosmic fold, portal, sci-fi Instagram filter." She blinked. "I don't know what that last one means." "Honestly, neither do I most days." Lysera sighed in a way that suggested she had already exhausted her patience with him. She gestured toward the ship. "Come, I'll explain everything inside. It's safer there." "Safer than here?" Corey asked. "Is something dangerous coming?" "Not yet," she said, which was not comforting at all. "But it will." He stared at the ship, then at Lysera, then at the flickering portal still humming softly behind her. Every survival instinct told him to run, but curiosity, and the knowledge that no one would believe him anyway, pushed his feet forward. Lysera watched him approach with an expression he couldn't interpret. Relief, worry, exhaustion from waiting a century for someone who looked like he couldn't even assemble IKEA furniture correctly. Probably all three. The ship's surface rippled when he touched it, reacting as if acknowledging him. "Okay," he muttered. "Not terrifying at all." Lysera placed her palm on a circular indentation, and a door unfurled like a blooming flower. Warm light spilled out, along with the faint scent of something metallic and floral. "After you," she said. "Is this how I die?" Corey whispered to himself. "Abducted by a space elf on a Tuesday." She raised an eyebrow. "I can hear you." "Great, fantastic, just what I needed," my internal panic narrator being audible. But he stepped inside anyway. The interior was impossibly large for a ship that's small from the outside. Curved walls glowed with shifting patterns, and faint holograms floated like drifting constellations. Devices hummed softly, some shaped like instruments, others like nothing he'd ever seen. Lysera followed him in, and the door sealed behind them with a gentle sigh. She stood in front of him, her expression finally settling into something calm and almost solemn. "Corey," she said, and hearing his name in her voice made something tighten in his chest. "The reason I waited for you is because our lives are bound by a cosmic thread older than both our worlds." Corey stared. "I'm sorry, I think I misheard. Did you say bound?" Her ears flicked. "Yes. Like spiritually, cosmically. Is that better?" "No." He swallowed hard. She took a step closer, her voice lowering. "There is something coming. Something ancient. Something only you can stop." Corey's laugh came out thin, strained, trembling. "Me. I can't even stop my neighbor's cat from stealing my shoes." Lysera didn't smile. That alone terrified him more than the ship or the portal or the century-long wait. "You'll understand everything soon," she said. "But first, you must accept that your life has changed." Corey looked at her, at the glowing walls, at the living ship humming around him. And for the first time, he wondered whether the universe's strange humor wasn't humor at all, but destiny laughing at him gently, with cosmic patience. Corey had once imagined that being inside an alien spacecraft would feel like stepping into the future. Sleek panels, glowing lights, floating screens, the usual cinematic expectations. Instead, the interior looked like a cross between a high-tech laboratory and a very confused botanical garden. Vines pulsed like fiber-optic cables, surfaces breathed faintly as if the ship inhaled and exhaled, and whenever he moved too close to a wall, it shifted politely away from him, like a shy creature avoiding eye contact. Lysera didn't seem to notice how bizarre everything was. She walked through the ship with the calm authority of someone who had long ago accepted that her walls were alive and occasionally changed color when startled. Corey followed her, touching nothing because everything looked like it might bite, buzz, or file a cosmic complaint. They entered a circular room where floating symbols drifted lazily in the air. When Lysera waved her hand, the symbols snapped into position, forming a glowing diagram that pulsed rhythmically. Corey jumped a little. "Great," he muttered. "Interactive floating hieroglyphics, my favorite." "This," Lysera said, "is the resonant thread." Corey squinted at the glowing diagram. "Looks more like a very angry spaghetti noodle." Lysera blinked. "I do not know this noodle. Consider yourself lucky." She stepped closer to the display, her long ears angling forward with focus. "This thread connects two beings whose frequencies match across time and distance. It is rare, extremely rare." Corey raised his hand. "Okay, but how exactly did the universe mix up frequencies so badly that it linked you, an interstellar, long-eared space traveler, with me, a guy who once got food poisoning from gas station sushi?" Lysera looked at him, completely serious. "You underestimate your importance. Believe me, it's a survival skill." The glowing thread pulsed, projecting two silhouettes, one clearly Lysera, the other unmistakably Corey. Corey's silhouette had heroic shoulders and looked alarmingly competent. He pointed to it. "Can we keep this version of me? He looks like he does push-ups voluntarily." Lysera ignored the comment. "A century ago, the first pulse of the thread appeared. It foretold a convergence, your arrival in my timeline." Corey frowned. "But I'm not special, I'm not chosen, I don't have magic blood, I barely have iron levels." "That doesn't matter," Lysera said. "The thread formed because you exist exactly as you are, imperfect, unremarkable, but carrying a resonance no one else possesses." Corey paused. "Wow, that was almost a compliment until it was." Lysera's ears twitched, which Corey had learned meant she was either embarrassed, irritated, or thinking deeply. "Without your resonance," she continued, "I cannot stop what is coming." Corey sat down on a floating platform that conveniently drifted under him like a helpful pet. "So what exactly is coming? A monster? A planet? A cosmic tax audit?" Lysera hesitated long enough to make him nervous. "Something older than my species, older than your planet. It is called the Riftwake." Corey shivered. "That doesn't sound friendly." It is not. It consumes resonance, devours bonds, it tears apart everything connected by cosmic frequencies. Corey swallowed, including us. Lysera nodded slowly. The thread drew me to you so we can face it together. If we do nothing, the riftwake will reach your world first. Corey rubbed his face. This is insane. I'm a regular guy. I do paperwork. I avoid phone calls. My greatest achievement last year was remembering to water a cactus. Lysera stepped closer. Her voice softened, a rare thing coming from her. You don't need to be more than you are. The thread chose you as you are, and I chose to trust it. He looked up at her. Her expression wasn't cold now. It held something else, something raw beneath the centuries she carried. And it struck him that waiting 100 years for someone must have been lonely in a way he couldn't imagine. Okay, Corey said quietly. Say I believe all this. What now? Do I train, meditate, eat glowing alien fruit for power? Lysera shook her head. Your resonance reacts naturally. You simply need to understand it. Understand it how? She gestured to a wall, and it opened like a curtain made of light. Inside was a small chamber filled with hovering crystals, each humming a different pitch. Step in, she said. They will read your frequency. Corey stared. Will they explode? Should I sign a waiver? They have only exploded twice. Only wait, what? But she was already guiding him inside. The chamber's air tingled like carbonated water against his skin. The crystals circled him, humming melodies that felt strangely familiar. One glowed brighter when he looked at it, vibrating with a soft gold light. Lysera observed. That one recognizes you. Is that good? It is unusual. Somehow I knew you'd say that. The crystal drifted toward Corey, hovering just before his chest. He felt a warmth spreading through him, not painful, just strange, like remembering a dream he'd never actually had. Lines of light spiraled from the crystal, sketching patterns around his hands. His skin tingled. Lysera stepped inside the chamber, eyes widening. Your resonance, it's stronger than I expected. Corey exhaled. Well, that makes one of us. The crystal dimmed and floated away, returning to its orbit. Corey stepped out, unsteady but unharmed. Lysera watched him with a mix of relief and wonder. You truly are the one the thread chose, she murmured. Corey rubbed the back of his neck. Great, wonderful, no pressure or anything. Pressure is inevitable, she said matter-of-factly, but you will not face it alone. He looked at her long ears tilted gently forward, at the steady calm in her expression. For the first time, the fear didn't feel overwhelming. It felt shared. All right, he said, breath steadying. Let's stop this riftwake thing. Lysera nodded, a spark of something like hope in her eyes. Good, she said. Then your real journey begins now. Corey hadn't expected saving the universe to begin with an argument about seatbelts. Lysera insisted he strap into the co-pilot chair, because the ship would soon exit hyperslip, and the gravitational recoil may liquefy unprotected organs. Corey, understandably, complied. The harness tightened around him like a very enthusiastic snake, and the ship lurched out of hyperslip with a flash of blue light that rattled his teeth and possibly shifted one of his internal organs 4 centimeters to the left. Before them stretched the riftwake. Corey had spent the last hour preparing himself for a monster, tentacles, jaws, cosmic fangs. Instead, the riftwake looked like a crack in the universe, a jagged, swirling wound that ate light as easily as Lysera ate those glowing alien snacks she thought were perfectly mild. It pulsed, expanding and contracting, as if breathing. The sight made Corey's stomach twist, but not with fear this time, more with a sense of responsibility he still didn't understand but accepted anyway. Lysera stood beside him, her long ears angled forward, eyes reflecting the fracturing horizon. Its resonance is unstable, she said quietly. The thread is pulling us toward the core. Great, Corey muttered. Nothing like being dragged into a cosmic pothole to kick off a Wednesday. Lysera didn't smile, but the edge of her mouth twitched, and Corey counted it as progress. The ship drifted closer, passing through waves of distorted space. Time jittered around them, moments repeating, stretching, snapping back. Corey saw 3 versions of himself in the reflection of the window, confused, more confused, and resigned. "Lysera," he whispered, "I think time is melting." "Do not panic," she said. "It is normal." "For who?" The ship bucked suddenly, drawn toward the center of the riftwake. Alarms pulsed in soft, rhythmic tones, almost gentle, as if the ship didn't want to stress him out more than necessary. Panels lit up, showing swirling frequencies that tangled and snapped. Lysera grabbed Corey's wrist. "Your resonance is reacting. It senses the core." "I knew skipping breakfast was a mistake," he muttered. Lysera guided him to the central platform, where a glowing interface rose like a blooming flower. "Place your hands here," she instructed. He hesitated. "What's it going to do?" "Amplify you." "Define amplify." "You will be fine." "You didn't answer my question." But her eyes held something steady, something that told him he wasn't alone. Not in fear, not in purpose, not in whatever destiny had been forced onto him. So he swallowed his nerves and placed his hands on the glowing surface. Light shot up his arms in warm spirals, filling his chest. His heartbeat synced with the ship's hum, then with the swirling frequencies of the riftwake. He felt everything: Lysera's presence behind him, the living ship around him, the vast silent hunger of the riftwake ahead. And then, unbelievably, he felt the thread. It wasn't a rope or a line, but a warmth stretching across the stars, connecting him to Lysera, to the ship, to something older and larger than anything he'd imagined. His fear melted, replaced by clarity. Not confidence exactly, but acceptance. He'd been chosen not because he was powerful, but because he resonated. Because somewhere in the strange mathematics of the universe, he fit. The riftwake surged, pulling harder. Lysera steadied him, her hand warm on his shoulder. "Corey, focus on your frequency. Ground it, shape it." He tried. The resonance fluttered wildly, like a bird beating its wings inside his ribs. He exhaled, remembering her calm voice, her patience, her century of waiting. He reached inward. The resonance steadied. The riftwake screamed, not in sound but in vibration, shaking the ship. Light poured from Corey's hands, flowing outward like a golden river. It struck the riftwake not to destroy it, but to stabilize it. The crack shrank, edges tightening, energy smoothing. Corey felt the thread vibrate with every shift. Lysera stepped beside him, placing her hand on the interface. Their frequencies aligned, intertwining like 2 melodies forming a single harmony. Together, they pushed the resonance outward. The riftwake shuddered. Then it folded, curled inward, and sealed shut with a flash so bright Corey saw stars even with his eyes closed. Silence fell. The ship drifted gently where the riftwake had been, the air settling, the alarms quieting. Corey slumped, breath shaky but relieved. Lysera looked at him, her expression softer than he'd ever seen. "You did it." He let out a weak laugh. "I didn't do it alone." Her long ears tilted in that way that always made him unsure if she was touched or trying not to show it. "The thread united us," she said, "but you chose to follow it." Corey ran a hand through his hair, still buzzing with leftover energy. "You waited 100 years for someone who gets nervous ordering coffee. I hope I didn't disappoint." "You exceeded every expectation," she said simply. The ship hummed around them, settling comfortably, perhaps proud of the 2 strange beings inside it. Corey looked out the window at the now peaceful void. "So what happens now? Return you to your world? Drop me home and hope my landlord doesn't ask questions?" Lysera shook her head. "Where you go next is your choice." Corey considered that. The old version of himself, the anxious man battling vending machines, avoiding adventure, would have run home immediately. But now, after crystals that sang, portals that bent reality, a cosmic bond that defied time, home didn't feel small. It just wasn't the only option anymore. He stepped toward Lysera, hands in his pockets to hide the nervous tremble. "Well, if the universe insists on tying our lives together, maybe we see where that takes us." Lysera's smile grew slowly, genuinely. Then we travel together. Corey grinned. Good. Because someone needs to stop me from pressing every glowing button I see. You are forbidden from touching any buttons. We'll negotiate. And for the first time since this began, Corey felt not fear, not confusion, but possibility, vast, wild, and waiting. The thread hummed softly between them, no longer a mystery but a beginning.